news broke while we were live streaming yesterday about Tucker Carlson getting fired. So let me just bring y'all up to speed by playing this video, and then we're going to continue to have a conversation. Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. Let's get it rocking, y'all.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight.
Loved and reviled Tucker Carlson, massively influential, and for Fox News, a mega moneymaker. Not anymore.
We have some news from within our Fox family. Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have mutually agreed to part ways.
There were no other details, but it's just days since Fox News settled that giant lawsuit for spreading falsehoods the 2020 election was rigged, with evidence Carlson and others knew that was wrong.
So the sentiment is, right, and this is where the speculation is coming from, but obviously Fox News is not necessarily releasing any details, which was one of the reasons why I didn't do an emergency live stream yesterday. And I like to see, and I know I'm sacrificing views as a result of it, because a lot of times it's better to be first than it is to just give all of the accurate information or waiting for the news to come out. But I know that I'm sacrificing some views as a result of it, but I like to kind of get a little bit more deep and let some more details come out before I start to break it down. But there was a lawsuit that was brought forth that basically caused Fox to settle for a little bit less than $800 million. And it basically was alleging that different pundits was purposely spreading false information in order to influence voters, which included different people that were on Fox News, such as Tucker Carlson, all right? Reading super chats throughout the show. Thank y'all for contributing to the platform. Shout out to Mike That Dude with the Cash App. I appreciate you, big dog.
And that Carlson has told colleagues he hates Donald Trump, even while publicly friendly with him, recently asking him about his time in court this month.
You were there, I think, 57 minutes. Tell us from your perspective what that was like.
Well, it was a horrible thing.
But it's Carlson's commentary broadly that riles most. Critics call him a xenophobic, misogynistic spreader of conspiracy theories, including that the January 6th rioting was, in fact, quote, mostly peaceful chaos. Some reacted to his demise like this.
Word has just come down that Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways.
Now, let me ask y'all a question really quickly, all right? Let me ask y'all a question. If you look at all of these women that's on this panel and all of the women that's inside of the audience and stuff like that, cheering and all of this other type of stuff, what does that tell you? The majority of the people that are celebrating the departure of Tucker Carlson did not watch Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson was the most highly viewed person on Fox. The highest viewed media personality, and anything that he dropped, it didn't matter what they titled it, it didn't matter what. When he went on, whatever his rants were, Tucker Carlson was the highest rated media personality on Fox. That is a fact. Now, this is what we see, right? And even though I didn't necessarily agree with 100% of everything that Tucker Carlson said, because I have my own mind, and I don't agree with 100% of what anybody says, including my own mother or my own wife, I respected Tucker Carlson's ability to be able to deliver the news, give it from a different perspective, and then more importantly, be entertaining. Now, it all comes back to the money, and it all comes back to the numbers. Somebody in the chat said, why did Fox settle? Well, the same reason why a lot of guys take a plea bargain when they get arrested for something that they may or may not have done. They don't want to go to jail for the rest of their life. And Fox News, similarly, obviously didn't want to get, possibly, regardless of whether or not they were right or wrong, they didn't want the possibility of, what's going on, Rita? They didn't want the possibility of, look at Rita bringing in my thing. They didn't want the possibility of getting a huge payout, billions of dollars, and so they decided to settle, which is why a lot of celebrities wind up getting sued in the first place. Celebrities get sued all the time, and it's going to cost them more in lawyers' fees and a possibility of losing as to why it is that they're gonna wind up taking a settlement in the first place. Horse.
Still, Carlson's program was embraced by millions, not least, it seemed, near endless prominent Republicans. Say Carlson critics, he may now be gone, but the extreme right-wing programming at Fox News will continue.
I don't see any reason to believe that somebody else is just going to come in and fill the void that Tucker Carlson is leaving. And that's why it's so important to remain vigilant to these threats and not to think that because Tucker Carlson doesn't have his primetime slot anymore, that somehow things are going to get better.
We'll be back.
Where Carlson goes now is unclear. Last week, he signed off for the final time, apparently unaware.
And we'll be back on Monday. In the meantime, have the best weekend with the ones that you love.
You know, the interesting thing about it, though, is, and I'm going to get into Don Lemon shortly after this. The interesting thing about Tucker Carlson's firing, first of all, I think it all has to come back down to the money. It has to come back down to the money. Hold on, let me get my wife to get her phone. You might want to get your phone. It has to come back down to the money. And the reason it has to come back down to the money is because as much money as Tucker Carlson was generating for the network, I'm not sure he was generating $1 billion. And so basically what they're doing is that they're cleaning house in order to possibly maintain the company, hoping that Republicans or their core audience then continues to rock with them regardless of what was going on with regard to Tucker Carlson. Fox is hoping that their brand is bigger than Tucker Carlson. Now, Tucker Carlson, in my personal opinion, will have no problem. I think that Tucker Carlson is going to get a bigger bag as a result of this. He can go anywhere. I'm sure that he has people at his front steps begging him to sign deals on whether or not he's going to wind up coming over to the dark side or another side. Tucker Carlson is going to be just fine.
We'll see you then.
And Paul, are we here?
Look, I hate to say it, Ian, but it's all still just guesswork. There are some who point to another lawsuit against Fox News brought by a former female producer on Carlson's show, alleging, among other things, a toxic work environment. There are Carlson texts that came out in that defamation lawsuit in which he slammed some of his bosses. Rarely does that kind of thing bring job security. But the precise reason for what happened is indeed still a question mark.
And of course, everyone's waiting to hear from Tucker Carlson himself.
Nothing from him. There is reporting tonight Carlson himself found out only minutes ahead of the announcement. So read into that what you will. It is all still a mystery, Ian, at least for now.
Isn't it interesting that it always comes back down to a woman? Isn't it interesting that it always comes back down to a woman? Thank y'all for letting me know in the chat that my audio had been off because I switched cameras. It's always going to come back down to the money, and it always comes back down to a woman, right? And that, think about this for a second, right? There's reports of another lawsuit possibly coming down from an improper relationship or improper workplace. Improper workplace. I've been saying this over and over and over again, that it always comes back down to a woman that is participating in whatever environment that you're in. And that toxic workplace culture always becomes a thing. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that that's the only reason that Fox News decided to part ways with the most popular person that was on the entire network, especially during election season, right? But my point is that Tucker Carlson is going to be fine. Fox News made a strategic decision. Obviously, he felt some type of way about their boss. But I don't care what boss is who. As long as you get those ratings and as long as you continue to do the numbers, as long as you continue to get the numbers, they'll deal with it. Listen, you can talk about me as much as you possibly can personally until it starts to become public. And then we're going to start having a conversation about whether or not the numbers actually make sense and you're delivering. Now, if you're not delivering and you're not worth the price of potatoes, then we're not even going to have a conversation because I'm not tripping about you anyway. Like, we can go ahead and get rid of you. It's not even that big of a deal no matter what. But if you delivering and it's starting to become a thing, I can deal with it as long as you continue to deliver and do the thing that you're supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? So, but here's the other side of it, right? And I have not seen this video, but one thing that I wanted to do is I wanted to I like to compare and contrast other different people that are on sides of the aisles, news coverage of a thing, in order to make a more informed decision or to get as much information as possible. Even though I know they may be slanted, but I want to get as much information as possible about how other people may be covering this and how other people may be seeing things. So this is CNN's perspective of Tucker Carlson's firing.
The sudden and stunning end to Tucker Carlson's tenure at Fox. The network revealing just minutes ago that Carlson hosted his last show this past Friday. Carlson had been a network staple since back in 2009. 6 years, almost 7 years, he had his primetime show. Just 2 weeks ago, he headlined a very important network get, the first post-arraignment interview with the former President Donald Trump. Fox on air and in its statement brands this decision as mutual. Let's get started.
Here's the other side of it, though. He's interviewed a lot of different people. He also interviewed Ye. A lot of people don't remember him interviewing Ye at the height of Ye's perspective, as far as everybody being calling to cancel Ye amid this old rant with Adidas and everything like that. But Tucker Carlson got pulled. I mean, he's a big deal. I need to look up. I wonder how much money Tucker Carlson was making. Let me see if I can find that.
Straight to CNN's Oliver Darcy. Oliver, giant news. What do we know about how it happened and why?
This is really astonishing news, John. In the world of media and in politics, we don't really have any details outside this short statement that I want to read to you from Fox News, which was put out moments ago. It says, Fox News Media and Tucker Carlson have agreed to part ways. We thank him for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor. And it goes on to say that his last program already aired on Friday, April 21st, and that his hour will now be hosted by a rotating cast of.
I'm saying that according to Forbes, which obviously we know that Forbes don't know nothing because Forbes just make guesstimations just like everybody else. But according to Forbes, Tucker Carlson made as much as $20 million a year at Fox News. Carlson 53 was making between $15 million and $20 million a year hosting Tucker Carlson Tonight, a 1-hour nightly talk show, according to a person familiar with contract negotiations with Fox and other networks. That salary makes him one of the highest paid people in the industry, has more leverage than anybody else, and he can pick up and go anywhere. Before this, ranked as the #2 most watched show on cable last year, clocking an average of 3.3 million viewers every single night, beat out only by Fox News' Roundtable talk show, The Five, before snagging the primetime slot. Carlson was a political analyst for Fox News, where he's worked since 2009. Yeah, he was getting that bag. The sudden announcement comes 1 week after Fox agreed to pay Dominion Voter Systems $787.5 million in a historic defamation settlement. Dominion sued Fox for $1.6 billion. See, they were suing for $1.6 billion, and then they wound up taking a settlement for $787 million. In March 2021 for defamation, alleging that the network pushed 2020 election fraud claims involving the company's voting machines, despite knowing they were false, for financial gain. Fox News also ended his relationship with fellow host Dan Bongino, host of Saturday night show Unfiltered with Dan. Last Thursday, he was a divisive pundit, reasoned on his podcast that he and the network couldn't come to terms on an extension. It's not some big conspiracy. So Tucker Carlson was pulling in that bag.
Over on the network. So a very short statement. I can't imagine that this was amicable. Notably missing from the statement was anything from Tucker Carlson himself. And John, this is huge, like I said, in Republican politics as well as media, because Tucker Carlson exerted so much control and so much power and influence over the Republican Party base. You often saw lawmakers like Ted Cruz go on his show and grovel at his feet when he would lash out at them on air. And like you said, he had the first interview with Donald Trump after he was arraigned in New York court. And so this is a huge moment, I think, not only in media but also in politics for the whole country.
And so Oliver, we want to be careful because there's a lot we don't know, as you smartly pointed out there. And you very smartly pointed out that there's no comment from Tucker Carlson in the statement issued by Fox. You can draw an inference from that, but we need to be careful. There was nothing, you very carefully covered the lawsuit, Dominion Voting Systems against Fox News. This is not required. There was nothing in that settlement. Fox settled the lawsuit, agreed to pay the money, and there was absolutely nothing like this on the table. So this comes as a total surprise, right?
As far as we know, that was not part of the settlement deal. Now, it's always possible that there was something in there that we didn't know. It's hard to imagine, John, that this is a coincidence. After Fox pays the highest defamation settlement ever that's publicly recorded in U.S. history, $787 million to Dominion last week. After the settlement, days after Tucker Carlson losing his show, it's hard to imagine these things are coincidental. But the network's not tying the decision to that in their statement. And so we just simply don't know how directly connected they are, but hard to imagine that this was a coincidence days after that settlement.
I agree. I don't think that it's a coincidence. I don't think that it's a coincidence at all. I think that it's absolutely tied to the settlement, because there's no way that you're going to lose the most popular pundit on your network and allow for him to go somewhere else without it being affected by what it is that you had to pay out as a result of this settlement, right? Right before election season, the most popular dude, the dude that regularly pulls in 1 million views just with his clips, let alone his specific segments and his takes, the most popular pundit among Republican voters on TV, on the most popular network, the number 2 most watched dude on the cable network, is no way. No way, no how. Listen, it doesn't matter how you feel about Tucker Carlson. It doesn't matter whether you're liberal or Democrat. Remember this, above anything, it always comes back down to the money. Above anything, it always, shout out to Brian Horsley, sent the 5-ball, I appreciate you. Amongst anything, it always comes back down to the money. The money talks above all. And when you have the highest rated, number 2 most watched person on cable, is no way, no how. Because a large part of how it is that you sell an advertisement is based off of the numbers. It's all data and metrics and your ability to be able to pull in. If you pulling in 3.3 million people every single night on dying platforms such as cable TV, Tucker Carlson is going to be fine.